Welcome to the first video in this introduction to Maya series here. The first thing that we're going to try to get into is I'm just going to run through some of the basic things, just kind of get you up and running. I'm really kind of gearing this as a video that is geared towards people that are familiar with Macs, and I'm going to really try to come at it from that angle and and things that we normally know how to do in Macs, kind of look and see how those things can be translated here in Maya. Just a quick overview here of the UI. Something that is worth noting is you'll see these little black arrows everywhere, kind of along the UI. And what those little black arrows do is they show you that these menu items can actually be clicked away and free up space, like so. We can even get rid of that one. So we are down to a completely empty scene here. We can go create, and here's a lot of our basic tools. So in Macs, we're used to having the command panel over here where we create. Maya doesn't have that. You either have to come to the menu here, or if you hold down the space bar, notice anywhere the mouse is, you get what Maya calls the hotbox, and from here you have a lot of basic commands. So we can get to create here, click and hold, and we can access a lot of those tools. You'll also notice that we have these little arrows. So we have like the north quadrant here. Gives us some other options. If we do all this and just left click and hold, we have some other options. If we do it over here, we have more options. We can actually bring back on different elements of our UI. So I say I bring back on the range slider, bring back the toolbox. We see we have the attributes, and we have three attributes. I know just the channel box you can't see. Command line, the help line, the status line, the shelf. So we see we've got lots of elements that we can access with our hotbox. Of course, down here we have these are editors that we can open up, and of course we have different ways that we can mask over here. So we're going to get into all of these. I'm going to go back to perspective here. So that's like just a basic rundown of kind of the way that the interface is laid out. You'll see up here anywhere you see these little arrows means that these menus can be opened up, and of course we can close them back in to where we have it clean, and we can then just open up things that we know that we use a lot, or we can have it all opened up. So those are just some of the aspects of our user interface that we can become familiar with. We can also go to display UI elements, and we can just do restore and get everything kind of back to where it was. We can or just turn on or off particular things. I personally kind of like it the way it is right now, with the fact that I will hide that guy, and you can open those back up here. We see that this is our attribute editor, so if we had something selected, we can come over here. It's our tools option, and here's our channel box back to the way that it was in the beginning. An interesting thing down here concerning our timeline, of course we can drag through here, and what I want to kind of bring your attention to, we see that over here This is the start time of the animation. This is the start time of the playback range. So the animation went from 100. We see that this is the playback range end, and this is the playback end for the entire animation. So let's say I said there's 200 frames, and the playback range was from 100 to 150. So we can see that changed it here in our timeline. And this little guy right here is actually our range slider. So in Max we had the ability of holding Control and Alt and then dragging the timeline. We can do that quickly here just by dragging this these guys here. We can adjust the end, beginning. We can scroll the whole thing, and if we just double click on it, it quickly expands to the full range of our animation. So we can double click and bounce in and out. So of course this shows us our current frame. So those are just some of the interesting things that Maya has that I find to be actually really useful. Max has this ability too, but they've kind of have it set up a little easier for us, more of an intuitive thing here. So of course we have our play, and then Maya gives us a play and rewind option, which is interesting. Never really found a use for it yet. Whenever I think that I will find a use for it, I tend not to. It really just kind of gets in my way, personally. So we have go to step back one key. Obviously we don't have any keys, and one frame, and go to start, go to end, one frame, and keys if we had them. These are our tools. So obviously here's our select tool, and this is a we can make a selection, right? It's a very typical tool there. Here's our paint selection tool. If we had something created, we can use that. And then here's our move, rotate, and scale. And obviously these are just like in Max, W, E, and R. T is always going to be whatever the last tool is, the last tool that you used. For example, I'm going to go to my hotbox, come over here, and I'm going to open up the shelf. So we see here's our shelf. We have lots of different shelves that we can have set up. You see we fur and hair and all kinds of stuff. Cloth, paint effects. This little guy over here, we can actually go in to our shelf editor. We can load a particular shelf. Not going to get into that right now. So let's just say I'm going to go into the shelf editor, and we see we've got a whole bunch more shelves that we can set up. So I'm going to just click quickly onto the polygons, and we see that it pops to that. I'm going to close, and we see that we can use these arrows over here so we can access all of the different shelves. So custom actually can be used for us. Rendering dynamic. So we have lots of tools. These are really just kind of like hotkeys that we can quickly access. Generals, curves, surfaces, polygons, so on and so forth. So what I want to do is I'm just going to quickly create something here. I'm going to go to this is under polygons, and this is create a polygon sphere. So I just click that one time. It pops up here. If it doesn't, and if it asks you to drag on the grid, then you have to go to create NURBS, and we see that the interactive creation is turned on. Polygon, see mine was turned off, so if it's turned on, and you click it and it says drag on the grid, so we just drag out, hit delete. So I personally recommend that you turn off the interactive. You don't have to, but that's just something I found to be useful. That way we can just click, bam, it's always going to create it the center of the world, which we see over here. So our X, Y, and Z, our rotate, our scale. Alright, so there we have, go to our select tool here, and looks like something might have frozen on me. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's just create here again, and I'm going to actually set this. Let's go back to the first frame, and I'm going to set this to 100. So we have 100 frames here, which we're not even going to be animating, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn these guys. I'm going to leave the help on so we can use that for when we create things. One of the things that we need to recognize, and it looks like I have my construction history turned off right now, so actually it was on. I'd like to know why I am no longer able to select objects. I'm sure that this is obviously a bug here. I'm just going to undo. Not sure, so that's turning it off, and we'll get into construction history. We'll go ahead and talk about this up here real quick. We see these are the different modules that we can enter. So here's our animation module, and you'll notice that what changed are the options up here from file, edit, modify, create, display, and window. Then we have help down here. Notice that these guys will stay the same, file, edit, help, and window, and then everything between help and window changes depending on which particular module we're in. So it's just a way of keeping things kind of organized. It takes a little while to get used to that, but think of this as where your command panel is. How we had create, modify, hierarchy, all those things. Just think of this guy up here as your command panel. So as far as manipulating the viewport, and then we'll be done with the basic overall. I'm going to go ahead and close this again. To manipulate our view, obviously we can roll the mouse, and everything in Maya is kind of dependent upon the Alt. So if I hold down Alt and left drag, we see we can orbit the camera. If we hold down Alt and press the middle mouse button, we pan. And this is our Alt and the right mouse button as our field of view. So those are the basic commands for just kind of maneuvering around our scene. So that's the basics of our interface. We have over here, we see we can go to a 4 view, which is typical of Macs. We also can jump to different presets over here, and if we left click, right click on any of them, we can actually go to all the preset layouts, and we can make our own if we want to from here. So there's a hyper shade and a perspective. Kind of see how that can have things set up. So there's lots of presets and really cool things that we can have set up to help us out a little bit. But that's like the basic overview of our Maya system here. I'm going to go back and let's bring the range slider back up. And command line really we don't need unless we plan on doing some mail scripting, which we are a long way away from getting to that point. But that's a basic overview of the interface, just to kind of get you familiar. Some of these other tools here we can get more into later. Notice down here that the last tool we used was Create Sphere, so that loaded up. And if we hit T, it goes to our Show Manipulator. And Q is the select tool, so Q, W, E, R, and T pops down here, but W, E, and R is the big ones. So that should just give you a good overview of the interface. Got my auto key turned on. So like I said, that's just a rough and dirty introduction to the interface, and in the next one we will move on with actually looking at how to save files, create projects, and starting from scratch with some modeling. So I'll see you in the next one.